Hello, my name is Ifoluwado. I'm the EID director for EID 2020. I want to use this medium to welcome you all for the EID Virtual Experience 2020. I want to assure you are here for a great time. Now, do something for us. Don't just watch this alone. Share on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your Instagram page. Invite your friends. You're going to have a great time. Minimize distraction as much as you can. I've been privileged to sit with some of the panelists and speakers. I can tell you they are well loaded for you, and you are not going to remain the same again. Now, I want to appreciate my team for have worked tirelessly so far in the past 1 year and the leadership of the platform. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Stay tuned and you'll have a great time. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Raphael Abijarin. I am the Country Corporate Director here at the Center for Real Impact and Youth Development in Abuja, Nigeria. I'd like to welcome you all to this virtual experience and thank my president for giving me the privilege and the opportunity to do this on behalf of the organization. My assignment is very simple and I'll quickly run through. I'm sure somebody's watching out there. Yeah, that's you watching me right now, and you're meeting us for the first time. You don't know who we are. You don't know how you even got here. Possibly somebody invited you, but you're loving what you're seeing and you don't know us. That's fine. So I'm here to tell you who we are. We are the Center for Real Impact in Youth Development, a capacity development platform where we train, we teach, we equip, and we empower. Literally, we put tools in your hands that would make you break even in the marketplace, that is, give you an edge out there. Because you all will agree with me that the difference between you and I is information. So we like to put it this way, that we bridge the gap between knowledge and ignorance. And of course, we tell you what you need to know. We give you practical tools, to be able to take you from where you are to where you want to be. In between that space is information, and our core values are embedded in the acronym REAL. Now, R is for relationship, E is for enterprise, and A, accountability. Then we have L for leadership. With that, I'm sure you already have an idea of what it is. I would not want to waste your time on that, but that is what we hold on to. Those are our core values, all right? And the vision of the organization actually is to build a global institution where change agents are raised and released for global impact. So it's a global vision. And you would agree with me that we're not doing badly, because as I speak with you, we have a thriving center here in Nigeria, in Abuja. And of course, we have one in Maryland, USA, that is floated by our own president, Mr. Kunle Joe Komolafe. And it's doing very well. They are already shaking that place already. Then we have emerging centers coming up in Canada, India, as well as other places that we hope to plant or replicate ourselves very soon, to be able to stay true to what we have told you as being a global brand. All right. So I want you to know that you are not in the wrong platform. You are not here by accident. It is okay for you to be here because you would learn a lot. We have, in a short time, I would say in a short time, because in less than 9 years, we'll be able to organize over 700 seminars in Nigeria and outside the country. We've been able to train. We've been able to do a lot. All right. And most of these trainings are targeted towards leadership development, entrepreneurship, peak performance, and some other motivational content here and there that I will not want to waste your time on. So you are welcome. This is the place to be. One thing I'm excited about is the experience we are all enjoying right now, which is the EID 2020. EID means Enterprise Innovation Development Summit. And that is our signature event. We do that just once every year. Last year was a blast. And this year, we're going to be taking it to another level. Of course, you agree with me that the glory of this latter virtual experience will definitely be more than the former. And that's what we're looking up to. From the lineup, I'm sure you would agree with me that it's going to be explosive. So please, I crave your indulgence to relax. Take advantage of the time that you have. Get a pen and a paper. Squeeze every single information from these guys and get better with it. Because wisdom actually is your ability to learn without the pain. They have gone through the pain. They're about to come share with you be wise enough to take advantage of whatever it is they have to dish out to you, and let's make it worth it together. And I'll see you at the top. Thank you so much for listening, and please enjoy the experience. Hi guys, so I'm here to introduce to us our next speaker. His name is Dr. Tosin Olushola. Dr. Tosin Olushola is a development economist, researcher, and global educator with special interest in human capital development and public policy analysis. He is a full member of the Nigerian Economic Society, NES, and the Nigerian Institution of Management, NIM. He is passionate about value creation, peak performance, and youth empowerment. Dr. Tosin is currently serving as the country representative at the Center for Real Impact and Youth Development, the Real Platform in Nigeria. He has consulted for several corporate organizations and multilateral institutions, including the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, and so on. He is a principal consultant at Smart Real Consulting Limited and a lecturer at Veritas University, Abuja, Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, please rejoin your hearts and appreciation. Welcome on our 2020 EID Virtual Experience stage, Dr. Tosin Olushola.
Once again, you're welcome to the Enterprise and Innovation Development Summit 2020, the virtual experience. Now, I'm privileged to give the keynote address for this summit. And my theme or subject matter is on the central theme for this summit, which is enterprise and innovation. Now, you may want to ask, what is spectacular, what is so out of this world about enterprise and innovation? You know that the development goals has as one of its focal points quality education. Now, the subject of innovation and enterprise development is one area that is hardly taught in the four walls of a university system. Knowing that this is an organization that specializes in bridging the gap between your formal education and the right skill sets that you need to function in the real world environment, we have thought it imperative to build a system that will guarantee you access to all our previous summits at the Center for Real Impact. You would realize that all our set of participants, our panelists, are people who have proven evidence, who have practical experience. These are not theoretical people who come and tell you theories. These are people who have failed in business and have thriving businesses. These are people who have gotten their hand dirty, who have built systems that have stood the test of time, so they know exactly what they are talking about. Now, the idea of enterprise development would solve the problem of zero hunger. It will solve the problem of unemployment. It will solve the problem of insecurity. It will solve the problem because, generally it is said that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So a lot of insecurity, a lot of unrest, a lot of, civil unrest all over the world are tied to, this youthful energy that is channeled in the wrong direction. Now, enterprise development does not necessarily connote the buying and selling or setting up of a formal business. What is an enterprise? Enterprise simply is a value creating mechanism. Now, so as an individual who is employed under a business, you can't be enterprising because you have feed yourself into a process that creates value and is rewarded. Now, in this sense, the bridge between the visions, especially for the youth of our time, and their aspiration is the capacity to develop the enterprising spirit, or the spirit of an enterprise. Now, an enterprising individual is somebody who finds a need, builds a product around it, and delivers it effectively. Now, that's somebody who can regard as someone who is very enterprising. However, I can say with all sense of modesty that we have a lot of youth who are very knowledgeable, passionate, educated, who wants to start up their own business or be very, very enterprising. But there's a huge difference between desire and capacity. Now, what is needed, the big bridge that our organization builds every year with this summit, is to link your desire to create a functional enterprise or business with the capacity needed to actualize one. Secondly, the subject of innovation is central to us. Now, if this is year 1990, or let's say this is year 1995, probably we'll be talking about, innovation is something that every business must be able to do in order for them to become more profitable. However, I'm not apologetic in this in saying this. If you have a business or you are intending to start a business in the 21st century, in the year 2020, or you have an existing business, innovation is not one of the things you do. Innovation is a tool for survival. Now, the law of nature presupposes that for an organism to survive with any ecosystem, he must be able to adapt to the level of change in his immediate environment. So, adaptation within the level of any ecosystem is tied directly to adaptive capacity. That means the ability to adjust to change. And you cannot adapt to change if you are not innovative. Now, but the question is, for businesses to thrive, they have to go beyond survival to look at thriving business, competitive business. Now, your competitive edge in the 21st century is tied directly to innovation. Your survival as a business is also tied directly to innovation. I can say this affirmatively, that there is no area of business or service that you want to venture into today that we don't have a lot of people already doing it. So what stands you out, what distinguishes your product or service from that of other people, is your innovative capacity. I was speaking very recently to one of our panelists in the session with him. This is a man who has been able to build a chain of businesses whose brand has gone beyond the shores of this country, who is very well respected. And I asked him one question, how do you get to do all of this effortlessly? And he said, well, I just look out for problems to solve. And at the end of the day, they call some people serial entrepreneurs, but I call him serial innovator. So in order for you to thrive or operate at that level of precision in the 21st century business environment, innovation is not what you need. Innovation is what is essential, is integral. It's not one of those things. It is the real thing that you need to survive as a business. The question is, how do you innovate? And I will tell you that this summit, at the end of this summit, you would be able to answer this question in the affirmative. You would know that innovation goes beyond branding or building a new set of machine. I can say this, ab initio, from the beginning, that innovation is your ability to do things differently in order to get a better result. So first of all, when you think innovation, you think, how do I do it differently? And I don't need a machine to do things differently. So you may just need to adjust your process. You may just need to adjust your recruitment process, your product development process. Just change something. If it gives you a better result, then we say that's an innovative process. So, and then it may mean bringing new equipment or building new tools to do things, but innovation is central to your ability to do things differently in order to achieve superior or better results. And I want to challenge you to dare to innovate. Dare to innovate, because it is not just a subject that you need to thrive in business. It is a phenomenon that is required both for the survival of your business and for you to thrive in business. Thank you very much and enjoy the summit.
Hello, welcome to the Enterprise and Innovation Development Summit. It has come. This is June 20th that we have been talking about. So today the 20th and tomorrow the 21st, we will be having a transformational, impactful session. You don't want to miss any of the sessions that we have with our speakers. Okay, so you want to sit back, get a notepad, get a pen, invite your friends, share it, tag them, call them, send them an SMS, send them an email, reach out to them, let them be a part of the Enterprise and Innovation Development Summit 2020. It's a virtual experience. So from anywhere all over the world, you can be a part of this. And I want to assure you that it will be impactful, it will be transformational, it will be informative, and it will be inspirational. Thank you, and you have a good time with us at the EID Summit 2020. Hello! Wow! It's so good to have you around with us at the Enterprise and Innovation Development Summit. This is Mr. Julius Umugbai, CFR, and we are having him for the first time, not the last time, because we'll be back again next year knocking on your door. Thank you so much, sir. We are grateful. We appreciate this, and we are honored to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Kunle. Thank you, Real Platform family. I'm very happy to be here.
You are one man wearing a lot of hats. You are into photography, you are into baking, you are into branding, you are into media. You're just into a lot of things. That's why I said a man, wearing many hats. How did all this come about? How did you come about all this that you are, you're doing?
Julius Umugbai is a Nigerian, first of all. I would not have an expression of the artist that I am. So photography, baking, branding. I also write. I actually have a novel that is in print right now, a fiction, a work of fiction rather. So everything I do is an expression of myself as an artist. That I get paid for me is double joy. It's almost like a young man who aspires to be a firefighter when he grows up. And he grows up, he becomes a firefighter, and he gets paid for doing it. So for me, photography, printing, branding, pastry chef or pastry artist or cake artist, all are forms of expressions for me, artistic expressions.
Wow, indeed. These are many hats you're putting on. Thank you. So now the next question is this. What are the three, I know you've had several lessons that you have learned, on this journey. What are three out of these many lessons you would want to share with us today at the summit? Three major lessons on your journey to transformation, life, and business. You want to share with us briefly three major lessons among several others that you have learned on this journey of yours.
The first lesson I will say is find your purpose. Find that thing that you can do with joy, you can do happily, that you can do even if you are not paid. Even if nobody pays you, you are happy enough to do it. You find that there are people who are in jobs paying them millions and they are not fulfilled. There are people who are in lucrative positions and they are not fulfilled because they know they are not doing the right thing. That's why sometimes you find a person who will read medicine and come back to start selling Indomie or to start selling food or something. That's one reason. Another lesson for me is know your craft. So apart from knowing what you're supposed to do, when you know that thing as your goal or aspiration or purpose in life, now learn about that thing properly, either by way of formal education or internship or whatever it is that it will take for you to learn it, so that you are an authority on that subject or that craft or that profession or that line of work. It's important that you know it, because if you don't know it, it means you will not be able to do the very best you can do in that your chosen field. Imagine you have a lawyer who doesn't know as much as he needs to know. So if he goes to court, he'll be stammering, they'll be running rings around him. But you find that the most brilliant lawyers are the ones that either know what they need to know about the law they are practicing, or they have people around them who are resource persons that they are referring to. You see lawyers in court talking to young wigs and telling them, okay, they've already prepared from their chambers what they are going to do in court. Then the third one, I believe, is to be honest in your dealings. Too many people want to, through sharp practices, become rich. You may deceive a few people and make some money, but you cannot deceive everybody all of the time. Like the saying goes, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time.
Wow, thank you, sir. So there are lots of people who are watching. They have mega ideas. They have big ideas. They are waiting to hit it big. They are waiting for that phone call, for that email, for that, But you are one man that have done what I call TIY, which is teach it yourself. Haven't had to interact with you a few times. I have heard you say this, that a lot of things that you do today on a global platform are stuffs that you had to teach yourself how to do it. Now, could you let us in to talking to us about someone who is waiting for that big idea, for that big phone call, that just sitting down and waiting for it to happen. But you are one man that never sat to wait for it to happen. You went all out, teaching yourself all these skills that has had you being called from different nations and mega companies and organizations to come be a part of what they do. Could you let us into this and talk to someone about this?
You just said steps. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. And procrastination, they say, is a thief of dreams. You have to begin. You have to begin from somewhere. Some people want everything to be perfect before they launch off. And things will never become perfect. Things will never become perfect. That's the truth. If you are waiting for everything to become perfect, so start small from where you are with what you have. It could be in fact, look at Apple and Microsoft. They were started in garages. And Apple is probably the biggest company in the world today. I think, okay, maybe Amazon is bigger than Apple. But they started small. But they are global brands today. But most people want to have a shop in one big mall. They even want to have a vehicle for the business. They want to have 20 staff. They want to brand and print paper bags and complimentary cards and everything. By the time they finish gathering all those, what we call a fizzy, you'll find that the real work itself, there will be no money to do it. But start small. If you have to go and borrow from people to start, borrow. If you have to go and leverage on the relationships you have, leverage on them, like uncles and aunts. If you have to go and pick products from those who already have them as wholesalers, you sell and return their money to them. Start from somewhere. Don't just wait. It never ever happens that way.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, sir. So the question that I will be asking next is this. Are baby steps overrated? There are people who want to grow businesses, grow systems, and there are certain things that we need to do to get to achieve them. Would you want to talk to us about baby steps? What are your take on baby steps? as to growing a system or growing a business or even growing an idea?
Okay, baby steps are called baby steps for a reason. It means that they are not very big, but they are teaching the baby something. How to walk, how to understand gravity, that okay, if you walk too fast, you will fall. Now, it harks back to what I said earlier. Assuming you want to start a business and you are starting big with everything that you have even gone to borrow millions and you fail, you may not want to start business again, ever. But if your exposure is small, what you've lost is little, it's like, okay. In fact, there is a belief in the US, in America, that if you have not failed at a particular point in your life, you are not trustworthy yet, because how you handle failure shows how you will handle success as well. So when you have failed, you then understand why you need to work harder to be successful. And besides, when you take baby steps, you're actually building your muscles. Each step you take builds on the last one, and the more you do it, the better you get. And eventually you will find that one day you are no longer a baby, you are now an adult or a giant in the field. It's the same way that a lawyer who has not, a young wig, which is a fresh lawyer, who has not handled a small case involving maybe theft, cannot suddenly wake up overnight to go and start doing presidential election tribunal cases, because they will run rings around him again. You need to begin from somewhere and build on that.
Alrighty, thank you so much. That was a good one. I am grateful. Now, photographs, I can't start to count them. But sir, could you tell us how you did this to have such an uncommon access to the nations of the world? How were you able to take photography? Like, virtually everybody is into photography today, but yours seemed to stand out and stand you out. What did you do to be able to have such an uncommon international access doing photography?
I am fortunate in a way, because it's hard to believe, but before I ever took my first photograph, I knew I was meant to be a photographer. I don't know how, but somehow I would look at pictures back then and I would say, I'm sure I can take a better picture than this. I'm sure I can. And then I had the good fortune of reading journalism. But when I finished, I didn't feel like practicing as a journalist or working for anybody. So I went into photography. And the truth is, I did not learn photography in school as it's supposed to be. Photography was more like a minor course. The first time I bought a film, I struggled. I got my settings wrong. But there was something about me. I knew that this was supposed to be what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be doing. I was reading magazines. There was no internet in my day. There was no internet. So we bought popular photography. We followed photographers who were older than us. We watched people do their thing. Now, I watch young people these days, and you have the internet, and there's a whole body of knowledge there. And you are still struggling on your own. It's not supposed to be. You are supposed to either apprentice with someone or go to school to learn photography. They are both very good pathways to photography. As per the countries that photography has taken me to, my first trip outside Nigeria was on account of photography, and it was along the west coast of Africa. I had to do a documentary for a World Bank project. It was called the Lagos-Abidjan Corridor Organization. It was a project where they were sensitizing border communities between the 4 countries of Nigeria, Benin, Togo, Ghana, 5, and Cote d'Ivoire on HIV awareness and prevention. So, and I was producing a documentary for the World Bank and the organization. And we spent a week in each country. A week in Nigeria, a week in Benin, a week in Togo, a week in Ghana, and a week in Cote d'Ivoire. And I found that we are basically the same, but it was an eye-opening experience for me. First of all, the kind of respect I was accorded and the opportunity to learn. You know, you cannot be a photographer and not learn every time you go out. Even if what you are covering is a scientific program, you are learning. One day I was at, I'm digressing now, at Cheddar Science Center, and somebody was saying something, and as he was about to say gene splicing, I now said the same thing. And somebody looked at me like, which kind of photographer are you? But the truth is that in the course of, oh, sorry, there's a flight bugging me here. I guess the flight who wants to learn business. In the course of doing your work as a photographer, your scope keeps getting wider. You are learning more. You cannot be a photographer and be dumb. Photography widens your scope, unless you don't want to learn. So photography has done so much for me. I have learned about life in general, people and places. I've been to almost every state in Nigeria, every state except Ebonyi. I don't know why Ebonyi people don't like me. I've not been there. But somehow I've not been to Ebonyi. Photography has taken me across this country. But for me, that my first trip from Lagos all the way to Abidjan, 1 month on the road, and it was a road trip. I don't like traveling by air because you cannot rewind. You just fly over places. But with road trips, you can stop. You can even go back to where you passed 5 minutes ago just to see it again or see it properly. So photography helps.
Learning from these sessions that we are having. Awesome. So the next question is this. How do I handle competition? Now, all these skills that we are talking about and these many hats that you're wearing are common stuffs that everyone seems to be doing somewhere, somehow. And I have a lot of people who are watching today who are into some of these things that we are talking about. Now the question again is this: how do I handle competition in business? What exactly stands you out amongst others, sir? What stands you out amongst others who are doing the same thing that you're doing?
I believe that the first thing you need to realize is that you are not in competition with others. The person you should be in competition with is yourself. That means the you that people should see tomorrow should be better, greater, more skillful than the you they saw today. Now, you find that as you keep raising the bar, you're getting better. It doesn't mean that you're not watching what others are doing. You should watch what they are doing so that you can even learn from them, take from them, and appropriate what they are doing and build yourself up. But you cannot compete against everyone. That's the truth. You can't compete against everyone. You will dissipate energy if you begin to run up and down because this one did like this. You want to do better than that person. That one is doing that. You start doing. You need to have a focus. Like in photography, you have those who only shoot weddings. You have those who only shoot events. There are those who only shoot products. There are photographers who only shoot pets. There are photographers who only shoot landscape. And they are making a living from all these. But the key competition is with yourself. When we started shooting in those days, the rule was every day you should shoot at least a roll of film, 36 exposures. It wasn't digital when you can just take picture and then delete it. Then you have to go buy the film, take 36 pictures, develop, print, and see what you've done. Then you critique yourself. So the better you get at your craft, the more people are willing to pay for your craft. But if others are getting better and you are not getting better, then you're on your own. They will leave you behind.
This is good. This is good. So the next question is this: how do I handle relationship in business? When do I draw the lines? How do I know when to draw the lines? in relationship, in business relationship. Can you tell us a little bit about this? Business relationship, how you handle it, when to draw the lines, and how do you go about doing this?
Be open. I believe the first thing you should be is to be open and transparent in your relationships, even whether business or life. For instance, you have a young man or a young woman in a relationship who has no intention of marrying someone, but you are telling them, I will marry you, I want to marry you, but you have no intention of. So already you are doing, is it, what do we call it, is it corner business? You are being underhanded in your tactics. Your staff too, same thing, being open and transparent. What you want to do, let your staff know adequately, because you find that if you say one thing and you mean another, or you say one thing and do another, it will get to a point where when you talk, your staff will be like, don't mind Oga, Oga knows what he wants to do, Oga has not told us yet, or Oga just told him so as he will go. But when you are open and transparent and everybody knows your intentions, they'll be like, oh, if this man says this is what he wants to do, that's exactly what he's going to do, and everybody will pull along with you. Secondly, do not be the one who seeks to win every time. Sometimes people in relationships want to be the one that's always winning. You know that if you play chess against that person, but what you should be doing is concede victories to others once in a while. It makes them feel that, okay, two of us are in this thing together. It doesn't look like it's only you. You called us to a party and you're the only one eating. So you need to, how should I put it now? You need to be a people person. You need to be a people person, and then know your people. Know your people, the people around you, the people you are working with. Because if you don't know their capacity, you will not even know what you can give them to do. It's very important. And maybe finally, know yourself. It's important that you know yourself too. There are some people who don't know themselves. You need to know yourself. What are your limits? What are your red lines? What are those things that you will not take? Some people don't know what they will not take. It's good to know yourself too.
Sir, this is one question I would want you to, because I would say you're a king in this already. So how do I become innovative and creative in what I do? What are the things I need to do to be creative?
How do you become more creative and innovative in what you do? It's almost impossible to give someone a vaccine that will make them creative or innovative. You could go to school to learn certain rules about creativity and innovation, but at the end of the day, it is something that comes from the inside. It comes from the inside out. So it is not seeing things with the eyes of familiarity. There are people who, because they pass a place every day, they stop seeing. That's why a man can live in the same compound with a woman, not necessarily his wife now, and the woman is pregnant, he doesn't know about it. The woman gives birth, they now tell him, oh, Mama so and so has given birth. Was she pregnant? That's because he wasn't seeing. And if you're not seeing, you cannot even begin to be innovative. And then be willing to borrow from other disciplines. So I bake cakes, but when I work on my cakes, I borrow from engineering, I borrow from architecture. I'm looking at different things I can do. I borrow from the arts. I don't restrict myself. So first of all, have eyes like a child. A child sees everything. I remember when my daughter was about 2 years old, when I would take walks with her, and because she was 2, she would say, oh, I want to wee. And she would just stop by the side of the road and wee. When she wees and gets up, she will look at her wee on the floor and tell me, oh, Daddy, it looks like a lion. As far as she is concerned, the shape she saw of her wee of the urine was, it looked like a lion. And I would look at it, oh yes, it does, it looks like a lion. But that for me was being artistic and innovative, because she was. Now, the other thing is, don't have a closed mind. Too many people have closed minds. They'll be like, no, this is how it is done. We don't do it like this. Don't be dogmatic. You know, it's like, no, from the time of John the Baptist until now, this is how it has always been done. We don't ever add this to this. We don't add that to that. You need, someday somebody will cook soup with ice cream in this country and we'll be like, wow, we never knew ice cream could be good with pounded yam. But that is how to be innovative, not being closed-minded.
Sir, funding in business is one aspect that a lot of younger business folks are seeing as a major challenge. Now, would you say that it was a challenge to you when you started? And what is your take in funding, business funding? People are asking, how do we cross these funding hurdles? What do you do when you don't have funding? So you want to look into that with us, because it gives us an edge, right? Like a lot of people say that funding gives us an. While I am hoping that funding would come, okay, how about if funding doesn't come? So I just want you to help us talk a little bit about funding in business. What do you think about that?
A lot of people have fantastic ideas and they don't have money to execute these ideas. And that's the truth. But that an idea is good does not mean that people will just naturally come and back it with money. There is no bank that will risk depositors' funds or shareholders' money to come and just back an idea because you said, oh, I have a good idea. The idea, first of all, must pass certain tests. Is it commercially viable? Who are you selling it to? Who are the people that are going to buy it? How much are you producing for and how much are you selling? What makes your own different from what they are doing now? What makes your own better than what others are doing now? Because if I am producing water and you two come to produce water, it doesn't mean that they will buy your water before they buy my own. Something must make your water better than mine. It must be that, okay, you are going to be selling cold water. But if you are selling cold water, it means that you are now paying for refrigeration to sell your cold water, which is increasing your cost, which makes your water more expensive than mine. You need to spell out certain things. And too many people do not sit down to, first of all, think their ideas through. If an idea is losing you money, it's not a viable idea. Now, funding, let me not digress too much. There are different ways you can raise money. I know that of a scheme by the Bankers Committee called AGSMIS. It's, I think, agriculture and small and medium enterprises loans. I think the interest rate is about 5%. But you don't get it for free. You don't get it as easily as other loans, but it is doable. You first have to attend a seminar for 1 week, and the seminar is part funded and supported by SMEDAN, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency. After it, they will give you a certificate and an application form that they will even teach you how to write a business plan. Because these are the things, the banks are not going to give you money, but they would buy your equipment for you. If you need to buy equipment, if you need to buy a vehicle, they will pay for all those things. But you must meet all those criteria. So it is not free money, it's not a wolf money. That's one. You have Bank of Industry. There are facilities for people in the arts, facilities for people in small and medium enterprises, businesses. There are facilities for those in agro processing. But you must first of all research. You can't just go and ask someone for money. You must know exactly what you want to do. You must have done your homework before you approach somebody for money. And then you can leverage on uncles and aunts and parents and siblings and friends to raise money. You can also sell stake in your business, but it has to be viable first. Because most people fail the test of viability. You must go through it as if your life depends on it. So that when you are talking, people know this man has done his homework. So they will say, because you did your homework, we're going to invest in it. And another easy way is you want to sell fabrics, but you don't have money for fabrics. What do? You go meet someone who sells fabrics and you tell them, okay, you know what? I would like to sell your fabrics. You sell at 500 naira, for instance. Can you sell to me at 450 so I can make 50 naira profit on your fabric? And they will agree. You take 10 fabrics, you go and sell. When you have sold, you come back and make sure you give them back their money. You are in business because you have become how much richer? 50 naira in 10 places. Just like you didn't use your money. But the problem is many people do not want to start small. They don't want to rough it. When I started my studio, let me say this, it's a digression. About 25 years ago, I had 20,000 naira. It was enough for me to either rent one room in one of the suburbs in Abuja or rent a sublet. We call them sublet, where somebody cuts a part of their shop for you. I went and opted for the sublet and I paid for it. So I didn't have a house. I was living in my shop. I lived in my shop for 3.5 years. I would wake up in the morning, come out with a bucket of water and take my bath outside in the open. When come rain, come shine, harmattan, I would take my bath outside. I could not afford to be sick. I didn't have a kitchen, I didn't have a bathroom, I didn't have a toilet in that store. I only had a tiny window. But I understood something that I needed to render a service. I was persuaded about what I was going to do. I'm sorry, this is not funding now, but it's just I need to put this out there, that you can start small, start from where you are, start with what you have. It is very, very important.
Whoa, thank you so much, sir. One of the things I have noticed about you is your attention to details and excellence. Was it like that from the beginning? You know, have you always been giving attention to details? Have you always been this excellent? Was it like this from the beginning? And what role does it play, in your successes? And how can I cultivate it? What role has this giving attention to details and excellence? What role has it played in your journey to success? And how do I relate to this?
How do I put it now? If your reason for being in business is just to make money, you will not go far. That is so key. If your reason for being in business is to render a service in an excellent manner, sometimes it looks like you are not serious because you are spending so much on either your equipment or your knowledge or in the way you deliver your services, but you want to give the best. A time will come when those who understand what quality is will gravitate towards you. They will now be willing to pay for that service. I remember when we used to shoot film. I keep going back to my film days. There are times when we will take our negatives to the lab and say, okay, we want to print 3 albums. And we'll print the 3 albums. Maybe my staff would have put the pictures in the album while I was out of the studio, and I will come back and I will see the pictures that the colors were off. As in maybe there was too much cyan or too much magenta. The colors did not look natural. And I will tell them, you know what, we can't give this album out. We can't give these pictures to our clients. And they're like, sir, but we've spent plenty of money printing them. I'm like, no. the moment these pictures leave our studio, we will not be able to tell anybody looking at this album that it was not us that made the mistake, it was the lab. So we'll go back to the lab and tell them, reprint our pictures. And they'll say, no, we're not reprinting. Okay, you know what? Make this correction, make that correction, we'll pay you. Then they will make those corrections and our prints will come out excellently well. But guess what? When those pictures now make it out and people now begin to look at them, and perhaps they look at them side by side with another batch of pictures that also came from that lab from somebody else that he didn't bother to go and reprint. You'll not be like, well, why is this person's picture so beautiful like this and this one is not? It's because we took pains, we paid extra just to get that quality. And the jobs I've ever gotten in this life have come from referrals. That is, somebody you worked for was sitting somewhere. I remember when we did a job for Bauchi State government some years ago when Adamu Mwazu was governor. He was going to fly in a photographer from South Africa. And my friend Ike Nachukweke, who is the owners of Caches, the Caches brothers, because we were taking pictures for him at his building sites and other stuff. But by the time they now brought us to Bauchi State, we did a job for the state that for every day we stayed in the state, we were paid 50,000 naira for just being in the. Cheaper for them to use us because we were as good as the person they were going to bring from South Africa, but we didn't get there overnight. It came from us doing a good job first in Abuja. And then by the time somebody in Bauchi now needed a photographer, like, oh, there's somebody seeking to be the best. And I used to tell my staff in those days that, look, I am not competing with Nigerian photographers. I am competing with international photographers, and I'm seeing with being just their local champion, they're where they are, they can pay their bills, and then they are good. No, seek to be like the people who are beyond you. And you will find that each day you keep getting not compromise on quality.
Learning, everyone listening to us. Now, what is that leadership culture that you, as one leading in your own sphere of influence, in your own area of influence, you are a leader. So I want to ask you, what culture, what leadership, so that we can be going forward? Well, a lot of people into photography, into catering, into fashion, and several other things in culture, so that they can bridge that gap. Because so how do we grow this leadership culture like
the first thing is a leader must have the answers, cannot lead. They will come to you and ask, so what do we do? And say, XYZ is okay, do this, do this, do this, and it works. Not like you must have at your fingertips. Because people will come to you for direction and solution. There are too many people who are seeking to be leaders in spheres where they don't know anything about. So a man says he's running a transport business. He doesn't even understand engines. He said, your camshaft is bad. Camshaft costs maybe 50,000 naira. But the driver now comes to the owner of the business, it costs 150,000. I'm just giving a theoretical example now. At the end of both words is shaft. But one is cam, the other one is crank. The camshaft is cheaper than the crankshaft. But if you don't know, you end up paying for. Then a leader is not somebody who stands off. There are too many people who, because they are the boss, they don't get their hands dirty. It's a bad culture. When I used to have a studio in the beginning, when we first had a studio in Abuja, the one I told you about, in case somebody comes in before my staff come in, so they won't come and meet a dirty office, I would mop the floor if need be. So, and they could not feel too big to sweep. That, yeah, I'm just working here, I'm not employed to sweep, I'm just employed to work. It's a lie. If you see me sweeping, you will sweep. So if your leader is breaking his back too, you want to break your back times two. But if your leader is the type that just folds his hands and wants to enjoy himself and then you are out doing the work, what will happen is the day there's trouble, everybody will withdraw from the back of the leader and say, yeah, face it now, maybe you are the leader. Face the problem. Because they know that you don't have their interests at heart. And then I think the other issue is A leader must be somebody who has empathy. You need to feel what your people are going through. There was a story I heard of a general who, when he was in the field with his troops, they brought him very luxurious and delicious food. And he was like, no, give me what my troops are eating. Give me exactly the same ration that you are giving them. He said, because I want to know when they are tired, if they are going to get tired or if the food is not enough. Now, can you imagine if this guy sits down, eats a whole chicken, and then he now asks troops who are eating just one tiny rat to match, and he's feeling, I'm still strong, I'm still strong. Meanwhile, the guys are running on empty fumes. So a leader must also be able to empathize, and a leader must lead from the front. And finally, if you're a leader, put yourself on a salary. This is important, particularly in business. There are too many Nigerians who, they keep dipping into the business funds. Your girlfriend comes, you say, hey, give me 5,000, you give girlfriend. You want to buy TV, you just give me 50,000, you go and buy TV. You are killing the business. You need to put yourself on a salary. Even your staff will now understand that, Oga treats business with respect. Our boss treats this business with respect. He doesn't just take money out of it. And besides, the day you need a facility from a bank or something, or you are willing to go somewhere where they can give you money, and they look at your books, they will now see, oh, you've put yourself on a salary, you have been a good leader, a good husbandman of the business. You have taken good care of it, because it's not just, so you are also leading yourself properly. So a good leader must have, these are not exclusive anyway, there are more, and they're not probably the only qualities a leader must have. Like I said, you must be knowledgeable, you must have empathy, you must not be afraid to get your hands dirty, and you must put yourself on a salary. It's very important.
Hey! Thank you so much. Man, this has been impactful and transformational. So I want to ask you if you have any closing words for us today as we wrap this session up. What are your closing words, a transformational statement that you have for us at the Enterprise and Innovation Development Summit 2020? It's been awesome, guys. Thank you, Mr. Julius Omugwai for this privilege. And do you have any final words for us?
The pleasure has been all mine. And I would like to add to anyone out there who has a dream, a vision, an aspiration, a desire, and you are having second thoughts, you are afraid, you are wondering, will it work or will it not work? Do not be afraid. You have nothing to lose. Take the first step. Begin from where you are. Begin with what you have and watch it grow. Do not be afraid. In fact, be bold. Seize the moment. Cap them.
Wow, what a word. What a word. Thank you once again. I'm always a grateful person, and I am grateful for this that you have done for us at the Enterprise and Innovation Development Summit. We'll be back again knocking on your door. Bye for now. Thank you.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Enterprise and Innovation Summit 2020. My name is Mose, and I'm here to do you a song titled Somebody. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the moment. race that on my own. I can't do it alone, don't need nobody's help. Hey, you them is know it all. You wouldn't take advice from nobody else. You're making everybody give up on you. You blind tripping over your own fin. You know you never make it through that open door. No man is an island. We all need someone to lean on. We all need a hand to hold on to. And if you never listen, you will only fall flat on your face. So you better learn and wake up, man. Everybody needs somebody. Yeah. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs somebody. Yeah, 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 yeah. Everybody needs somebody. Yo, I say to myself, if I could only find someone who is willing to show me a path in life, and maybe even a token just to keep me hoping. I went into a man from a place I worship. He's a boy, you know we are no longer members. Maybe you could find someone out there who's got it and somehow he might be willing to help. How come you pushed me right to the word when I was told we are one family? Man, if you don't care, maybe someday you might be the one who's needing the helping hand. Yeah, yeah. Everybody needs somebody. Yeah. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs somebody. Yeah, 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 yeah. Everybody needs somebody. You better got the help that you can get while you still can. You better listen sometimes when they speak, if it makes sense. You can be anything you want. You can get everything you need. Just believe in God and never give up on you, no. Yeah. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs somebody. Yeah.
Demola is the group CEO of the Louis Valentino and Prixia companies, LVP. The group operates business brands such as Prixia Buka, Prixia Hotels, Grab & Go, Prixia Media, Prixia Properties, Louis Valentino Foods and Beverages, Popsi, and Grosvenor in Nigeria, and also Prixia USA in the United States of America with ownership of several burritos restaurants. He is a successful business mogul and brings a wealth of experience in the financial services sector to his role as LVP Chief Executive, which spans over 2 decades both as a professional and an entrepreneur. His professional career, which majorly was in the banking industry, saw him rise through the ranks from an entry-level officer to the position of general manager before retiring from banking in 2014. Since leaving the financial services industry, he has developed into a full-fledged entrepreneur, managing ventures and investment in so many sectors of the economy, prominent among which include hospitality, manufacturing, trading, real estate, catering and restaurants, fashion and accessories. He is a master strategist and an executioner. He has excellent planning and organization skills. These attributes have in no small measure contributed immensely to growth and successes of his various businesses. While most businesses suffered hugely from the recent economic downturn, he was able to navigate his businesses through this turbulent period by employing various diversification strategies. It was not a surprise, therefore, that while others were collapsing, his group LVP was expanding and conquering new business territories. Demola is a graduate of economics from the Ogun State University. He holds a master's degree from the Manchester Business School and he is an associate of the Chartered Institute of Bankers, Nigeria. He has attended several courses, home and abroad.
Wow. Awesome. So good to have you with us, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the privilege and for the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kule, for inviting me to this session. Thank you for bringing me on board these fantastic and experienced panelists. I look forward to having a beautiful session with everybody and taking as many questions as possible during this program.
we will be going straight into an interaction, a discussion that we'll be having together. And we are honored as an organization to have you. So friends, please kindly share this. Invite your friend, tell someone about this, send the link out on your several groups. You know, let's get people to be a part of this impactful session at the Enterprise and Innovation Development Summit 2020. You know, even though we're not in the hall like we always do, we can make this our hall. The globe is our hall right now, and we will maximize it. All right. So the question that I have for you is this: what inspired your choice of business? So we just wanted to tell us a little bit about you, you know, and what inspired your choice of business. Prix Air, Luis Valentino, and several other brands that has come out of this awesomeness.
Hello everybody, my name is Demola Banjo and I'm the Group CEO of Luis Valentino and Prix Air companies. We have brands that cut across different or diverse sectors of the Nigerian economy. Our Prix Air brand has business operations in the food area, in media, event production area, in hospitality, hotels, also in cleaning services, industrial cleaning, fumigation, decontamination, etc. And our Luis Valentino brand focuses majorly on two areas of trading, in construction finishes and furnitures, and also manufacturing of non-alcoholic beverages and snacks. We created all these ventures from the inspiration that we got in one, creating employment for the youth, and also from typical ideas of how we can turn passion into business. Now, turning passion into business requires you looking at the opportunities on the business side that come from a simple thing that you like to do, which is what we refer to as passion. What we enjoy to do is to create the basic necessities of life to people, and that delve into running a business, establishing a business such as Prix Air Catering that has brands like Prix Air Buka, Grab and Go, Prix Air Mama Put, and all of that, because it's essential for people to eat and to feed. Also, we also look at clothing as well, because people need to wear clothes, and as such, we got a franchise from a UK company called Grosvenor, and we are the sole representative for Nigeria, and we do luxury, tailor-made clothes, shirts, accessories, blazers, trousers, and stuff for both male, female, adults, and children from the brand called Grosvenor. We also look at another essential item of living, which is shelter, and that brought us into creating our Prix Air property business, where we build, we develop real estate properties, and then we manage, we rent out, at times we sell, and then we recoup, and then we invest back into it. So our entrepreneurship journey was driven majorly by the desire that we have in one, creating employment for people, and also turning our passion into money. Our passion has generally turned into money, and what we have seen as a driving force is our vision, which is to become a global enterprise in the creation of quality. So while we are converting our passion into money, we are very conscious about the standard, the quality, the standard in every aspect of what we do, both in the service delivery and also in the provision of goods. And that's our vision. It now formed our vision statement. So we emphasize on making sure that there's quality in what we do. One of the other things that has also helped us in this journey, of building our organization is using the best available human resource to drive and to build the workforce. Driving the workforce requires managing them, training them, bringing the best out of people, and making them valuable to the organization and to the society. And that has been also another major area of focus, that we have put a lot of attention on in our growth strategy, in building a world-class organization. Now, our entrepreneur conglomerate covers also entertainment as well. So we have an event production company that deals with, because we found out that people like to have fun. So event production company deals with things like provision of technical services around sound lights, screen stages and all of that. So for parties, for weddings, for events, for concerts, etc., we are also there. Our Louis Valentino business also focuses majorly on two areas of manufacturing and also trading. We trade in construction, finishes and furniture, and we also manufacture non-alcoholic beverages and snacks that focuses on children. But however, we are retooling that sector now to target the adult market. So generally, this is a brief about our operations and our scope. However, what I'd like to say right now is what you need to do to encourage yourself to become an entrepreneur. Because the entrepreneur journey is not just about making money. It is majorly about creating value from opportunities. So if you are looking at becoming an entrepreneur, you need to look at what lies around you that is probably a deficit, what people are probably not doing well or not getting properly, and convert those challenges or those issues into business opportunities and make value come out of it. The value that will come out of it are majorly value for yourself as an entrepreneur, value for the customer that you are selling either the goods or the services to, and then value for the society by way of corporate social responsibility. So in a nutshell, that is just my little brief and intro about who we are, what we do, and also the inspiration that has driven us to become entrepreneurs in diverse sectors in Nigerian business economy. Thank you.
Wow, this is big. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. So what three major lessons would you say that you have learned all through this process? From when PRIX started to where we are now as an organization. I know there are lots of lessons you have learned. Lots and lots of lessons you have learned. So, but out of all this, could you just let us into at least three lessons that you have learned growing this business, this system, this company, this group? You want to let us in a little bit into the three major lessons out of many that you have learned in this process of growth.
Three major lessons that we've learned is, first is that you have to carefully select your human resource. With the wrong set of staff, you are going to lose value from your investment. Number one lesson is carefully and professionally hire extremely good people to work with you. Number two lesson is you need to have deep knowledge of the industry that you're going into. If you don't have enough knowledge about the industry, you are going to meet a lot of unexpected roadblocks, and those things can mar your entire vision for that particular venture. But if you have good understanding of the industry, from the regulatory aspect, from the customer aspect, from the service aspect, from every aspect of it, operational wise and all of that, you will be able to overcome a lot of obstacles. Very, very important. The number three lesson is that you must ensure that you do not derail from your vision, because along the journey of building greatness, there will be a lot of ups and downs. There will be a lot of obstacles that you're going to encounter. Stay focused on your vision, on the journey that you have set for yourself, and you find out that you'll be able to get to the promised land on time. So lessons to learn, three top lessons is make sure you have good people working with you, make sure you have good knowledge of the industry, and stay focused on your vision.
Wow, thank you so much, sir, for these lessons. I mean, this is big. This is big. I appreciate this. And I'm sure everyone who is listening, you are learning, you are taking notes and writing stuff down that you would go and apply from here. Now, it is not what you hear that counts, but what you do with what you hear. So you want to run with these things that we are giving to you. Now, this is the question, sir. Have you had any failures in business before? Have you had any failures in business before? Now, if it is a yes, could you tell us a little bit about it and how you were able to get yourself back together and pull yourself up after such failures or after that failure, and here you are today, a role model to many. There's lots of people who are looking at you and who are like, probably you've been this big, like we said earlier, or probably you've not even had any failures before. So you want to tell us a little bit about it, if you've had any failures before, and how you were able to put yourself together and hit the ground running, and here you are today, a role model in this business and in several other things that you do.
Oh yes, we've done a lot of investments that did not work. Not so many, but some that did not work. And one principle that I have as a person and as an entrepreneur is I learn from my mistakes quickly. I don't repeat the same mistake in the business, and I also get over, when I have financial losses, because I don't dwell on it for one reason. It's never going to come back anyway. So if you've lost it, you've lost it. We have invested in a company that did not work from day one. And this was because we took our attention away from the principles that guide our investment decisions, and we ignored it, or we took it for granted at some point, and we felt everything was just going to be fine and all right. But we found out that, it wasn't so. So, we dusted ourselves up, and then we moved on, and so did it. Did we lose money? Yes, we lost money. Can we make the money back from future businesses? Of course, yes. Do we need to dwell on it? Not really. What do you have to do with the lessons you've learned? You make sure you don't repeat the same mistakes again, and then you'll be fine.
Wow, thank you so much. This is big. Wow, okay, so someone is asking a question, and it's a funding question. He's saying that I have this big idea. I have this mega idea. It's a concept, but I know that I need funding for it. So when I get funding for it, I will just be good to go. I've written the banks several times. I have applied for grants. I have spoken to people who can probably help out with a loan and all that, but nothing seemed to be forthcoming yet. Yeah, nothing seemed to be forthcoming. Now, what would be your advice to such a person who is saying that I have this big idea, I have this mega concept and all that, but I need funding to start? You understand? I need money to start. What would be your advice as one who has become a general in this? What would be your advice to such a person?
Thank you. That's a question that is very popular and common. People have asked me that question in a lot of speaking engagements. And what I always tell people is this: convert your ideas into a good proposal. All right? Put your idea, turn it into a business idea. Because ideas might not, just an idea is different from a business idea. All right? Switch it into a business idea. Do your feasibility studies. Do your proposals and all of that. Make it very, very interesting. There's a slogan that we use: make it bankable. When we say bankable, it means that put it together with a lot of professional involvement. Put it together in a way that when somebody reads it, it can draw attention and interest. If you get a proposal to that level where it can draw attention and interest, I can tell you that you will have easy access to fund, either by equity or by debt or by any kinds of investment, venture that you can find. Now, people have gone to banks and request to get facilities or funding for projects or businesses, and they get turned back because it just did not make business sense to the banks. Now you need to seek professional help to put those things together and make it bankable. Every bank would like to put their money in an investment or a venture that they feel is safe, secured, and it can pay itself back. If your business idea is robust or good enough that a banker does the assessment and sees that this can pay back the money, they will lend to you. If you don't get that done, you can also look for investors. There are just some people out there that just, they are just looking for opportunities to put the monies in, and you can get an investor. If you don't get an investor, you can access all the government intervention funds as well. Those monies are available and it cuts across so many sectors and all of that. So you make sure that what you have as a business idea, it fits perfectly into the programs that the federal government is running through the CBN, and you find out that you can have access to money. If you don't get that as well, then look for people like us that can help you do a referral, that can give you recommendation to lenders, to banks and all of that. And you'll be surprised that just a recommendation from somebody that has believed in your project can go a long way in helping you to get funding. So the problem is not really lack of money. The problem with a lot of people is the inability to put the ideas together and make it bankable that will draw money into it.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. This is good. This is good. I'm loving this. And I'm sure everyone who is listening is learning. You are learning something from this session. I just hope so. Sir, now let's talk a little bit about the boss and the staff relationship. Okay, so I saw a picture of you. I watched a video as well. Towards the end of the year, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, how you were dancing with your staffs, and then you were having a party. It was an end of year party stuff and all. And I'm like, wow, I love this. So what would be your advice? What would be your counsel to someone who is an employer of labor as regarding how to relate with his or her staff? Because it's very important. When you want to get the best from people, there is a way you ought to relate with them. So what would be your counsel to such a person who is an employer of labor, and then to some people who are working with them? There are people who work with someone who has this entitlement mentality, and all that. So we're looking at it from the both sides of the coin now. What would be your counsel as to how to be an effective boss and how to be an
Thank you, Kule. You see, in managing people, you need to look at or discover the idiosyncrasies of each person that works with you. That means you need to look at the peculiarity that they have or they possess and work around that to get the best out of them. Now, what do I do with my people? I have a strategic way to manage my people. Basically, when you manage large employees and you also have a sizable senior management team, you have to get personal with them. When I say personal is, I show concern to their needs and their welfare. I know their families, I know their wives, I know their husbands, I know their children. I interact with them, I visit them, I celebrate them. We do private stuff like it's a birthday, I visit your house, we eat together. I invite some of them to my homes at times, because at senior level, you need to bond with your people. When you bond with them, you are building loyalty, you are building confidence from them. And when you build loyalty from your people, they stay with you. When they stay with you, they help you to build the vision that you have. What we do again is we generally reward good work. So you see us celebrating our people as if, we want jackpots. So whenever anybody does something good, we always make sure that we make so much noise about it within our system. We celebrate you, we recognize you, you get gifts, you get awards, you get extra incentives and all of that. This is to encourage other people to want to do similar things or do good as well. We are also very strict with sanctions as well. So in managing them, we are also very, very disciplined. So if you do wrong, you have to face disciplinary consequences of your actions. But if you don't do wrong and you do well, there's a word we use, you will enjoy. So my advice to entrepreneurs out there is this. You see, don't make your relationship with your employees strictly and extremely official. Make sure that they are your friends. make them your brothers, make them your sisters. When you see them like that, the way I see my siblings, my biological siblings, is the same way I see my staffs. I take care of them and I care, show empathy, I show concern for them. When you do those things to your employees, they will want to die for you. And when somebody is ready to die for the business, you have less worries because the life of the business is the people. The people makes the business. If you have good people that believe in you and believe in your vision, you have solved a lot of your problems. But if you have bad people, you are also going to have a lot of problems as well. So take them closer to you, cherish them, and still draw the line between being their superior and their employer and also working for you. Because at times people want to take privileges for granted and they tend to use familiarity to try to cross the boundary. No. When people go wrong, show the disciplinary rod. When people do well, embrace them and celebrate them. And you'll see that you'll be able to build a loyal workforce. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate this. So the next question is this. It's about competition in business, right? So a lot of people are doing what I am doing. So, and I'm a little bit scared, you know. How do I handle competition in business? How do you handle competition in business? Now, you have hotels. We have a lot of people who have hotels. You're into hospitality, catering, and all that. We have a lot of people who do that. You are into mega media. We have a lot of people who do that as well. So my question to you is this. And someone is asking, how do I handle competition in business? Be it in selling or production, whatever sphere of influence it is. How do I handle competition in business? Because I know there's nothing new anymore. There's someone somewhere doing what I am doing, right? So, and there will definitely be competition, right? So how do you handle competition in business?
Thank you for that question, right? And I tell you what, straight to the point. If you go into a venture to copy, you're going to fail. But if you go into a venture to differentiate and to stand out, you're going to exceed. You're going to succeed. It's very clear. There are so many people that are doing whatever anybody is doing right now. Nobody has monopoly of anything worldwide, globally. One person is doing it, somebody else is doing it elsewhere. But the big question is that, how well are you doing yours? And how different are you doing yours? You must have a uniqueness that will come with whatever that you do. So you need to find that uniqueness, discover it, and use it to your advantage, to your utmost advantage. Do not copy what competition is doing, but make sure that you set the required standards that everybody should have. And then put a notch on it, which is that I do a little extra to be different from somebody else. Let me give you an example. Everybody makes food. Everybody makes food. So many people make food. We also make food as well. But what we did was, we went to create a secret ingredient and we put it in our jollof rice. And the jollof rice became the best jollof rice you can find in Nigeria. And that has helped that our brand called Pixel Buka. We did not just go to copy somebody else's kind of menu. Everybody's making jollof rice, but we decided to create something unique about the jollof rice. And if you taste it, it's got the smoky smell, it's got a little bit of spice in it, and then we use a particular type of rice, and then there's a recipe on how you cook it, so you don't see it soggy and all of that. The grains stand out, and little extra things that you can do to your business that will make it different from the others is what you need to focus on, not to compete. And also the market is large and big enough that it can accommodate everybody that wants to do it. So don't go into competition, but rather compete with yourself internally, which is that, how do I need to beat what is the norm? How do I go beyond the normal? And how do I improve on the standard? If you do that, you find out that you come out different. And when you come out different, the whole market will come to you. When the market comes to you, you're just going to grow and you're going to have fun making money.
someone is asking that it seems as though whatever you do, you become successful at. Whatever you touch becomes, good. Now the question is this, right? So how do you come out excellent in what you do? And how do I know if this idea is the best idea for me? How do I know if this idea is the right idea for me? Have you ever done anything that you started that you had to stop? You had to drop on the way while you started. You probably felt like this is not for me, or this idea is not going to work when you started doing it. Have you ever had that? You want to talk a little bit about that with us? And what did you do at that point when you found out that this is not the idea meant for me? Because what people see right now is an excellent a global group, and all that, the Luis Valentino and several other things that you do. So, did you ever have any idea that you had to stop doing at some point? And how did you do it? And then how are you able to bring excellence into what you have chosen to run with?
There's something about ideas, all right? An idea is usually not completely formed when it comes to bear. An idea just comes as a droplet. It's a small, tiny little bit of idea, and then it begins to expand, and it grows, and it becomes something bigger than you ever thought or imagined. So when you have an idea, you also need to begin to nurture that idea and make it grow and expand. If you grow your ideas and expand, look at Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. Did not know Facebook was going to be this big. Even Jeff Bezos of Amazon would never knew that Amazon is going to end up doing web services, entertainment, delivery, online shopping, and all of that. They never knew. But what they had was the initial idea. So if you have an idea and the idea makes sense to you, and you have a conviction that this is good, because you must get a personal conviction. When you have a conviction that is good, test that idea with market reality and see whether, hey, can this work in this market that I'm in? If the responses are positive, then begin to grow and nurture the idea, and it begins to expand. Also, you need to seek other people's opinion when you are nurturing your ideas. Not that you're going to sell your ideas to people, but you can run your ideas with people that are like your mentors, people that are like more experienced than you, people that are like more versatile than you, just so that they can give you better insight as to what is required for you to make that idea become, something big and major. So when you do that, you now find out that from what you thought was a small item, it has become a mighty big venture.
Oh wow, thank you, sir. So sir, now the next question that seemed to be like an attachment to this is this. Are there things I should know or signs that I should watch out for, to know that this is not for it, this is not for me? The signs I need to watch out for, or things I need to know that would give me that prompting, that yellow light, that warning light that this is not for me. So what signs should I look out for, or what are the things I would start to see, that would give me that caution to tell me this is not the idea, this is not it for me?
Okay, now ideas comes also in numerous forms as well. Some ideas are interrelated. You can have an idea of this venture and have a second one, but by the time you look them deeply, you can merge some of them and it becomes, still the same item. However, I will advise starters to do one step at a time kind of, philosophy. If you have multiple ideas, numerous ideas, do one, grow it, nurture it, expand it, let it be sustainable, and then go into the next one. I will advise you not to try to jump into 3-4 ideas if you don't have the capacity to do that. Capacity means financial capacity. Capacity means human resource capacity. Capacity means a lot of things. Please, I'll advise you. Like I've got numerous ideas of things I still want to do in the future, but I bring them one after the other, one after the other. As I do one and I finish it, then I move into the next one. I think that's the way to go.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. That was good. That was good. That was good. Now, the next question is close to that. Is there anything that you have done, like a business or an idea that boomed? You know, we just talked about the one probably that you started and you had to stop and all that. Is there that one idea or that one business that you started, you know, and then it boomed, boom, regardless of the risks that was involved? Now, this is the question. Can you share a successful risk that you took, you know, that boomed, and how you were able to mitigate this risk? You know, because a lot of people have ideas, you know, and then when they hear about the risk that could be involved, they become shaky. You know that is there risk attached to every idea and all that? So I'm sure you get what I'm trying to say. Like, so what business or what idea is it that you started or you did that now has boomed? You know, it became a big thing. You want to share with us about that, and then what risk you had to take, you know, to get it to that point where it became the talk of the town.
Okay, I have a very beautiful story to share. All right. About 5 years ago, I found out in the Abuja market space that we don't have standard event production services. All right. And I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea about event production. What I mean by idea is, I don't know, you know, what a speaker, you know, I don't know what a speaker looks like. I don't know what cables they use. I don't know what equipment they use. But we saw that the market needs something big and good and better. So we decided to invest in Pixel Media, an event production company. When I was buying the first set of equipment, I was researching at the same time investing into it. And it was a very, very tricky and risky venture for me to do. But it became successful for one reason. While we were deciding on the investment, we were also looking at the loopholes in the market. And we were seeing that, look, in this market, they don't have this particular type of equipment. They don't have this particular type of setup. They don't have this particular type of gears. So what we did was, we did not buy or we did not invest in the kind of equipment that the people that started before us, what they have. We didn't copy them. What we did was to bring in superior equipment to what they have. And also we now had to go look for superior engineering. So we got a lot of guys that came from Lagos to come and do things differently. It was risky because we never knew how it was going to turn out. But in a year and a half, we realized that one, we broke even, we got our money back, and then it became a very, very big business. So we expanded it further and we invested more into it. And today it has turned out to be #1 event production company in northern Nigeria, if not in the whole of Nigeria. Even if you look at us, the whole of Nigeria, we're probably ranking the top 3 in the whole of Nigeria from nowhere in just 3 years.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Now, the next question is connected to that other one as well. And it has to still do with the risk. Now, we have a lot of people who start doing something and they get to a point and they get stuck, right? They get stuck. Now, why did they get stuck? Because they look at the next level, the risk involved at the next level, so they prefer to just remain where they are. I mean, I call such average living or average life or average business, you know, whatever, you know, we want to call it, or you know, we could even say mediocre business, kind of. But my point or my question to you is this: what would be your advice to someone who is at that phase of life where he's gotten to that place, you know, at a plateau, at that point in his or her life where the risk to go further is stronger than he or she could or would imagine? What would be your advice, you know, to such person that would help the person be able to move on and grow beyond where he or she is? You know, they're already getting comfortable where they are because of the risk involved if they would go higher, if they would want to go further. and all that. Would you want to advise such a person, and what would it be, sir?
You cannot be scared of success. You can't. You have to look at the success stronger than the risk that you're seeing. Because if you are focused on the success, you will not be afraid of the risk. Because in everything that you do, there's a risk. Even if you take paid employment, there's a risk. Because that means job security is also a risk factor that you need to consider. So I'll advise you is, look at what you can achieve and what you can become in that venture, and to overcome all the risk fears that you have. And then you find out that, things don't bother you. However, when you see a risk as well, look for mitigants immediately. As in, if this does not go well, what can I do? Or how can I do this to manage it to go better and all of that? Look for those mitigants and let them be in place, just so that when you are going along the journey of your greatness, success, you are able to overcome all the obstacles that might come your way. And that's about focus on the success, not on the risk. Because fear is toxic. Once it gets into your system, even if it's zero risk venture and fear comes in, you won't be able to pull it through.
Wow. Risk. It's really difficult to make progress in life without having to conquer. As someone said, for every new level, there's a new devil. So your ability to conquer that new devil takes you to that level. And then if you want to go to another level, you have to face a new devil and all that. So thank you, sir, for that. The next question is this. How do you handle relationship in business? Now, we are created to be relational in nature. So we need someone to grow. We need someone to lean on at some point in time as we grow in business and life generally. So what would be your take as it concerns relationship in business? How do you manage relationship in business? Of course, you would have good relationships, we have bad relationship experiences and all that. But in totality, what would be your take as it concerns relationship in business, and what should be our disposition to relationship in business?
It will surprise you to see or to know that when I go to any of my businesses, like my food business, to buy anything, I pay. It's a personal principle. I pay. And I collect my receipt from them. I pay. I could as well just say, give me everything you have, then I walk away. Nobody can question me, but I pay. So if I pay in my business, my friends will pay. My wife will pay. My wife pays for everything that she buys from the business. My friends will have to pay. My brothers will have to pay. So there's a difference between relationship, family, friends, and all of that, and the business. Because I always tell my friends, if you want me to succeed, then patronize my business. Because I'm going to patronize you as well. Don't come and say because you're my friend, you're going to get it for free. Then you don't want me to succeed. So if I personally patronize my own business, all right, everybody that is associated with me also needs to patronize the business. So that's how you separate the line. That's how you draw the line. That's how you draw the line, separating the business from relationship. And it's very, very important that you do so. Otherwise, everybody that you give those free access and privileges, they will run down the business.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I appreciate this. So, the next question is this. If you would start all over again, let's assume you are asked to start all over again. So, if you were to start all over again, what would you do? I would do this, I would put this together and all that. So, that's the question. If you were to start all over again. Because there are some people who are just about to start and they are here watching us, and I'm sure some of the things you're going to say here would help them a whole lot, to be able to put certain things right as they begin to plan and strategize towards starting whatever it is they want to do. So if you were to start all over again, what would you start with, or what would you put in place better than you did when you started?
What will I do better? That's a tricky question. What will I do better? I'll probably deal with my, human resource a lot better. In terms of, I'll have gone to look for world-class people if I'm starting afresh. That is one. In the sectors that we invested in, we have no regrets. They are good. But what we'll probably do again is to still make sure that we dig deep and have clear understanding of some of the intrigues that are involved in those sectors. And then, what would I not do? I will not jump into the lagoon just like that, lagoon of business investment, without knowing how to swim my way or maneuver my way around the ocean. So I will just jump into an investment that I don't know anything about.
You know, okay. Whoa, it's been an awesome time with you, Mr. Banjo. Thank you so much for your sacrifice of time. We are grateful. So what would be your final word to someone who is just starting business, starting life? You know, what would be your final word to such person? And what would also be your final word to someone who is right at the middle, you know, of business growth? Someone who has started probably some 3 years ago, some 2 years ago, some 5 years ago, or probably some 10 years ago, you know, someone who is just right at the middle of it. And also someone who is already at the top there, who just feels, I'm at the peak of it. You know, what would be your final word to such a person who is watching us right now as we wrap this up?
There is never a wrong time to start a business. There is always a right time to start a business. Even if you take paid employment, my top people, I expect them that someday they are going to end up setting up their own business. So my message to people is start it, grow it, focus on it, be consistent with it, and take it to a sustainable level. If you're able to do that, you'll be fine. If you have a desire to set up a business or to be an entrepreneur, go for it. You might start a little bit rough, but however, I can tell you that the journey to success, you know, starts with taking the first step. Like the common saying with Johnny Walker is, the journey of 1,000 miles. So take that first step. All the discouraging factors, line them out and knock them out one after the other. But focus on the goal, focus on your vision, and focus on the success story that you want to have. If I knew this much when I was still in paid employment, I'd probably quit like 5 years or 10 years earlier. However, I still have no regrets because those were also learning grounds for me to be able to acquire a lot of knowledge, exposure, skills, and all of that. So what I would say is that don't give up on your dream. Don't give up on your ideas. Pursue them, and with God on your side, you will definitely make a success out of it.
Thank you so much, sir. We are grateful. We appreciate this. We are honored to have you with us at the Enterprise and Innovation Development Summit. And I'm sure that when we call again, you will be right there to answer us. Have a good one.
I'd like to appreciate my good friend KJK, Kule, for bringing me on board to the Enterprise Innovation and Development Summit year 2020. I've had a good time today, good time in sharing, good time in teaching, good time in answering questions and inspiring people. I look forward to subsequent editions, and please feel free to call on me anytime you need me to participate, and I will gladly honor that invitation. Thank you.